Sometimes the biggest shifts in human history didn't come from massive wars or powerful empires, but from the simplest things, tiny inventions and everyday objects we now take for granted. Things you might find in your pocket, your kitchen drawer, or tossed aside on a dusty shelf. But don't be fooled. These objects help shape entire civilizations, spark revolutions, and forever change the way we live. Here are 10 ordinary objects that changed history forever. First up, the humble wheel. It's probably the most famous invention ever, and for good reason. But what's crazy is how simple it really is. A round object designed to roll. The earliest wheels date back to around 3500 BC in ancient Mesopotamia. But here's the wild part. They weren't even used for transportation at first. They were part of a potter's tool used to shape clay. It wasn't until a few hundred years later that someone thought, hey, what if we put this on a cart? From that moment, everything changed. Roads were built, goods could travel, civilizations could connect, and the world began to move, literally. Without the wheel, we wouldn't have chariots, bicycles, wagons, cars, airplanes, or even some of the machines that built them. The wheel didn't just move people, it moved history. Next up, paper. Can you imagine a world without paper? No books, no mail, no contracts, no schools. Just a whole lot of talking and forgetting. Before paper, people wrote on stone, clay tablets, and even animal skins. But then, around 100 BC in China, a government official named Kai Lun developed a method using tree bark, rags, and water, and created the first real paper. It was light, easy to carry, and easy to reproduce. It traveled across the world, through the Silk Road, to the Islamic empires, to Europe. By the time Gutenberg's printing press arrived in the 1400s, paper was ready, and together they sparked the knowledge explosion we now call the Renaissance. That thin, flimsy sheet changed the way humans shared ideas. It helped build libraries, governments, religions, and eventually the internet you're watching this on. Now let's talk about something even smaller, but just as powerful. The nail. Yep, a regular metal nail. It's so common today that we barely notice it. But before nails, buildings were held together by ropes, pegs, or intricate joints carved by hand. It was slow, painstaking, and only skilled laborers could do it. Then the nail came along, first made by hand, one at a time, in ancient Egypt and Rome. But once the Industrial Revolution hit, nails could be mass-produced by machines. And suddenly, anyone could build. Faster, stronger, cheaper. Without nails, there'd be no cities as we know them, no skyscrapers, no mass housing. The modern world is held together by billions of tiny, sharp, overlooked miracles. Literally. Up next, the compass. Imagine being on a boat in the middle of the ocean with no land in sight, no maps, no GPS, just endless water. For most of history, people traveled by the stars and the sun. It worked until clouds showed up. Or darkness. Then came the compass. Invented in China during the Han Dynasty and perfected by the 11th century, this simple tool, a magnetic needle floating in water, revolutionized travel. It let explorers go farther, merchants sail safer, and empires expand faster. It was the quiet driving force behind the age of exploration. Without the compass, there might never have been a Columbus, a Magellan, or a global trade system. It turned brave guesses into guided journeys and helped shrink the world. And now, the plow. Farming might not sound exciting, but without it, there'd be no civilizations. And the plow? It was the breakthrough that made farming efficient. Before the plow, humans had to dig soil by hand. It was slow and exhausting. But then early farmers in Mesopotamia and Egypt figured out how to drag a simple blade through the earth, first with people, then with animals. The result? Crops grew faster, fields expanded, food supplies boomed. The plow allowed fewer people to grow food for many, which meant others could specialize, become builders, artists, scientists. Cities were born, societies grew. The plow may not look impressive, but it laid the foundation for civilization as we know it. Next up, the syringe. It's small, it's sharp, and for many people, pretty scary. But this little tool has saved millions of lives. The first versions of syringes date back to the ancient Greeks and Romans, but the modern hollow needle syringe wasn't developed until the 19th century, and it changed medicine forever. Before syringes, treatments were slow, unreliable, or downright dangerous. But with just a quick injection, doctors could deliver medicine straight into the bloodstream, fast and effectively. Vaccines, insulin, pain relief, blood draws, IVs. None of it would be possible without this simple device. It's not flashy, it's not glamorous, but in the fight against disease, the syringe is one of our most powerful weapons. Now let's talk about the mirror. We all use it every day to brush our teeth, fix our hair, check our outfit. But the mirror isn't just a tool, it changed how we see ourselves. The first mirrors were made from polished obsidian, used by ancient cultures for rituals and reflection, literally and spiritually. But as technology improved, mirrors became more common and more accurate. And that's when something incredible happened. Artists in the Renaissance began using mirrors to study the human body, which led to more realistic art. Scientists used mirrors to study light and optics. People began to think about how they appeared to others, kickstarting a wave of self-awareness and identity. The mirror didn't just reflect our image, it reflected our inner world and shaped the way we think about who we are. Next, the bar of soap. Simple, slippery, smells nice. But in terms of human survival, it's a game changer. For centuries, people had limited understanding of germs or hygiene. Plagues swept across cities, diseases spread like wildfire. But once soap became common, and once people connected cleanliness with health, everything changed. Hospitals got cleaner, life expectancy shot up, infant mortality went down. Public health improved dramatically. Soap didn't just clean hands, it helped clean up history. In fact, it's still one of the cheapest, most powerful tools we have to fight disease worldwide. Not bad for something you can buy for $1 at the store. Now get ready for this one, the light bulb. Of course, we all know Thomas Edison and the story of how he brought electric light to the world. But think about this. Before the light bulb, everything was ruled by the sun. People worked by daylight and slept at night. Candles and oil lamps were expensive, dim, and dangerous. But the light bulb changed all that. Suddenly, the day didn't end at sunset. Factories stayed open late, cities lit up, nightlife began. Learning could happen after dark. Productivity exploded. It wasn't just about seeing in the dark. It was about unlocking a whole new way of living. One little glass bulb, and the world never looked the same again. And finally, the computer chip. You can't see it, you don't hear it, but you're using it right now. The microchip, or integrated circuit, was invented in the late 1950s. It's a tiny piece of silicon that can hold millions, now billions of electrical signals. And it became the heart of every computer, phone, car, airplane, and smart device you can imagine. Before chips, computers were giant, clunky machines that took up whole rooms. After chips, they became small, fast, personal, and everywhere. The chip didn't just change technology, it changed everything. How we communicate, how we work, how we learn, travel, entertain ourselves, even how we fall in love, all from something smaller than a fingernail. So the next time you walk past a mirror, send a text, wash your hand, or flip on a light. Remember this, some of the biggest changes in history didn't come from kings or conquests, but from the tiniest tools in our everyday lives. Because sometimes the most ordinary objects make the most extraordinary impact. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments. Which object surprised you the most? And who knows, maybe something in your pocket today will be the next thing to change the world.